Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, I'm Michael. I like to do motorcycle related content, be it with my Harley, my DRZ 400 or my CBR 1000F that I'm rebuilding. As I've mentioned in a previous video, I'm going on a ride through South Australia. I currently live in Victoria, in the Victorian High Country, and I'm going for a ride with a friend of mine through South Australia just after Easter. So we're going to ride from Omeo, Shepparton, Bendigo, down to Port Macdonald in South Australia, up along the coast, up to Wellington, across Wellington ferry or punt, depends on where you're from, through Langons Creek, up to Mount Barker. I've got some friends from Mount Barker that I'm going to catch up with, up to Nuriupta to catch up with my daughter, up through Waikerie to see my sister, to Mildura, then down along the river through Deniliquin, Albury, Mitta Mitta and back home. It's about a 2,400 kilometre ride. I'll show you the map here that we're going to do. We're going to do it over like a 10-day period. It's only, as I said, it's only 2,500 km, so it's not a huge ride, but it's going through a lot of the wine districts just for something to do. I've got my camper trailer, and Rod, who I'm riding with, also tows a trailer, not a camper trailer, but a trailer that he carries his swag and bits and pieces in. There may be another person joining us, I'm not sure. And we're going to catch up with a couple of his friends from Port Macdonald, which is in the southeast, down past road, for those of you that don't know. As I said, I'll show you on the map. And we're going to take it from there. So what I'm going to do is just do a pre-ride check. I've got about 3 weeks, but I went for a ride yesterday and it sounded like something was loose. And someone mentioned to me this morning, because I was wearing a different helmet, maybe I'm just hearing different things. So I'm just going to do a kind of a pre-ride check, just go through, tighten a few things. I've got some more oil and filters to do another oil change for it before I go. I've did it about 3,000 kWh, so I won't change the primary one, just the main engine oil. But I noticed this morning when I started, my front brake is leaking out of the top, so it could be just a loose screw or something, but I notice I'm losing fluid, so I'll check all that as well. I'll also do a shakedown on the trailer, take out things we're not going to need. I'm taking my camper trailer because it's easy enough, but I think we're not really camping per se, so I probably won't need to take my big heavy kitchen that I've got in there and things like that. Anything to lose some of the weight, that'll be great. So that's the intention. So let's get going. So what I'm going to do is just go through, make sure there's nothing loose. I heard a bit of I thought it was a rattle yesterday, but it might not have been because I was wearing an open face helmet, and I don't normally wear an open face helmet. So as you can tell, I've got the bike up on the hoist. I had I'm not sure if it was a rattle yesterday or not, but someone mentioned it might be because I was wearing an open face helmet. I'm hearing different noises. So what I'm going to do is just do a basic check on it, see if anything's loose, tighten anything that I think might need tightening. As I said, I'm not quite sure. I'll check the belts, you know, all the bits and pieces that go with it, and continue from there. But I'm also going to give the bike an oil change. The main motor oil change, as I said, because I've did the primary about 2,500 kWh. So I do that every second oil change, the primary and the gearbox. So about every 10,000 k, but it's only been 2,500 k. So I will do the motor. And so basically it'll be 7,000 k by the time, or 7,500 k by the time I do the primary again. So every second oil change, which is all pretty good. So I'll start on that now. So we don't need to go through the process of an oil change. It's a 5/8 bolt at the front of the crankcase. Just loosen it. Takes 4 litres. I normally have an oil pan here, but I think I've lent it to a friend of mine to do his bike. So I'm just using a couple of ice cream containers that'll fit under the bike. But it's pretty simple, straightforward, easy peasy. So we won't go into that, but I'll proceed with that and then drain the oil. On that, always loosen the dipstick plug, just helps it flow. And as you could see earlier, the motor was warm from bringing it up on the ramp. So warm your motor up a little bit, it'll make it flow easier. About 4 litres of oil in there. And 5/8 spanner is all you need. So I've drained the fluids, pulled the, checked the plug, it's got a magnetic plug in it. Tiny little metal fragments in it, so that's fine, there's bugger all. Changed my O-ring on the sump plug because that was getting a little bit past its use by date. And I've got this nifty little thing now. So Harley make them, this is an aftermarket one. So I've got all for the fillets and things. This just slips in under your air filter, so it doesn't leak all over the bike. It's got its own little hose and bits and pieces. And this is on a 17mm. So a 17mm spanner, just to undo it. And any residual oil should be caught in this thing and come out. I use a K&N filter, and I use one with a nut end, so it makes it easier to get it out. Which, by first observations, has worked. So yeah, I just use a stainless steel K&N filter. Oops. Well, the idea of it worked fine. I think it's the operator that just dropped the line in there that's has buggered this up a bit. But for all intents and purposes, that works quite well. So I use a Spectro heavy duty oil, 20W50. I get it from Easy R in Queensland, that I said I get a lot of my stuff from. It's made for V-twins, and it comes from the States. So I just put a little bit of oil in to the filter to pre-set it. As I said, you've all done this 1,000 times. Lubricate the ring a little bit. Now with my sausage fingers, if I can get in there. So it doesn't have to be super tight, as we all know. So once it's tight, quarter of a turn after that, and that's done. Beautiful. So as I said, I didn't really need to go through this. We've all done oil changes before, so it's not like it's anything new. Just wipe off all the excess. Main thing is make sure you've got your sump plug back in there. And yeah, just check your O-rings and things. Wipe up any oil, so that was pretty good. I'll top that up, and I might leave it for tonight, only because the sun's going down. It's late afternoon. It's 7 o'clock here, so I might leave it for tonight and resume tomorrow. I wasn't going to continue filming tonight, but when I was warming up the bike, checking the oil level and bits and pieces, there's this bloody horrible squeak, and it's just been irritating me, and I couldn't work it out why. So I kept on taking different things off, and I've discovered it's actually these crash bars. Quite a while back, I don't know if you recall when we put them on, but they must have worked a little bit loose. So it's not this side, but it's the other side, and it's just squeaking, and it's just irritating me. So while I've got the bike in parts now, I'll go through and tighten them. So 0 degrees is level. So I'll do that to the other side. It looks pretty parallel to the bike, but it says it's level, so that's all I can do. But I just thought I'd share that with you. As I said, the squeaking was just getting, it was starting to get really annoying. And also while it's all in pieces, I'll be able to check the belt tensions properly, adjust my air for the trailer because I need to boost that a little bit, and any other adjustments I need to do. So it was probably good that I did it, because I've already started disassembling it now. So tomorrow we will continue. So here we are the next day, a little bit better light today. Finally sorted out that squeak. As I said, it was my side protectors that was squeaking. It was a little bit loose, and also a secondary squeak was in the rubber mount of my exhaust. So I've fixed both of those, so that's good. Now I'm just going to do a drive belt inspection, giving it the oil change. I know the plugs are good, so I'm just going to give the drive belt an inspection. I don't have a deflection tool, but it should be 10 pound at roughly the half mark. And the way I was shown, it's about right. But I will check my belt just to see if there's any nicks or frays or burrs or anything in it. So I'll be checking it from up here. And I've raised the back wheel so I can spin it easy, just to check it and see if there's anything unbecoming in it. It should be fairly good. I maintain the belt fairly well, but as I said, I'm doing a long ride, so I need to make sure. So I just use a little bit of light under that with my phone. Whoops, wrong one. If there's any small nicks and things, it's okay. You're just more looking for the teeth missing or big damage to them. But generally, as I said, I maintain my belt fairly well. These ideally should outlast the length of the bike if you maintain them. Any long rides I check these on. It's just to make sure there's no nicks or frays, or because the last thing you want to do is be out on the road and have an issue with your belt. So what we'll do is we'll do a visual from this side as well, just to make sure there's no holes or puncture marks. And no fraying on the edge. If it frays on the edge, your front and rear sprockets aren't in alignment, so that's just something you need to check out. Sometimes they get a little hole or something in the centre where a stone gets caught, but I don't ride on that many dirt roads, so I should be right with that as well. And that looks like that is great. Apart from the filthy colour of my white walls. Look at that. They're disgusting. So apart from the horrible dust and stuff on my white walls, which I'll give a bit of a clean now, overall that's pretty good. I'm happy with the way that is. I'll give it a bit of a wipe down, a bit of a clean up, and then I'll might do a bit of a check on the trailer Just things I don't think I'm going to need to take. Like I don't think I'm going to need to take my big kitchen, which just adds an extra 20 odd kilo of weight to the trailer. So that's something I won't need to worry about. I've gone through and lubed things up that I needed to, and as I said, I've stopped squeaks, I've given it an oil change. Between now and the end of the month, I'll ride a little bit, but nothing significant that it's going to need any major adjustment to. I will tow the trailer for a ride, just on a short ride, just to balance it out again once I lose that weight. But apart from that, I'm pretty happy. My highway pegs I want to adjust, but that's neither here nor there. Just the angle of them is just weird. And it needs a good clean. But apart from that, overall, I'm happy with the way it's going. So I'll see if I can clean this white wall up a little bit, and then I'll start on the trailer. Okay, the only other thing I want to do before I put the bike back together is just check the air filter. I've got a K&N washable filter in it, so I'll just pull that off and give it a quick check, make sure that's all good, and then we'll reassemble the bike. So this is a 5/16 Allen key, or Allen socket in this case. Yeah, see, that's good. I'll just give it a bit of a wipe out. It's all clean, it's no problems in it. Yeah, there's no excess oil or anything in that, so that's great. There's a small recess it sits in. Put the bolt back in. And tighten it back up. Here was a thought before I continued putting the bike together. I've got the bulk of it back, but check my air shock suspension. I normally ride, obviously, as a solo rider. Casey rides with me occasionally, my daughter, but very, very seldom. And she weighs next to nothing anyway. So I'm going to set up the suspension for a solo rider plus a heavy passenger, shall we say, which would compensate for the trailer. The trailer weighs about 120 kilo. I normally run the bike on about 10 or 14 for me alone. So I can go up as high as, because it's a 2009 bike, the air pressure goes up to 50 psi. Up to a 2008, it's only 35. But what I might do is I might set it for 30 psi to start with, 25 to 30 psi to start with, and then see how it levels out and rides, and then I can adjust it from that. So there's a valve here. There's a valve here that you connect a low pressure pump to. It's a bit like a bike pump. And so I'll grab that. So this is a low pressure pump. It's basically designed for exactly this reason. It goes up to 30 psi tops. So, as I said, these shockers are designed to take up to 50 psi, and I'm currently, it's about 6. So what I'll do is I might take it up to, I'll take it up to 25. This has a one-way stop valve in it so the air doesn't release from it. And I'll put the trailer on that and see how that rides. And if that rides well, I'll leave it at that. If it's handles funny, I will back it off or add more to it appropriately. But until the trailer's on it, it's hard to set the level for it. But that's an approximate weight for the weight of the trailer, so that should be good. But I thought I'd mention that before I continue and put the panniers back on it. Okay guys, so I'm just sorting this trailer out. I don't know how many of you remember that epic blunder where I flipped the top of the trailer. It took a couple of hours to do it. Got within 5 minutes of finishing and then realised if I just turned the canopy over, I could have saved myself all that time. When I folded it up after that, I don't know if I've actually filmed it at the time, but I got a mouse, or a mouse had got in there afterwards and chewed a big chunk of my top out and the thing on the bottom. So I've glued a patch and stuff in there. It's not the most beautiful one, but it's strong. So what I'm just going to do, there's obviously no, because when I did it, when I found this, there was a couple of dead mice in there. So, but I'd left the zip, the protective hatch over it, a little bit undone. So I don't know if they got in there after that or somehow they got in there when I did this. So I'm not quite sure. So I'm going to put a couple of pillows in here permanently. So they're always in here, otherwise I put them in and out because there's plenty of room. So as you can see, there's plenty of room. And what I'll do is I'll slide the mattress down a bit and I'll put the pillows in here so they're always in here. So then when I fold it up, I don't have to worry about looking for pillows and stuff. And because it's got quite a thick mattress on it with my big sleeping bag, it's quite comfortable, and that way I don't have to worry about ever looking for it. So I'll go grab a couple of pillows and throw some old pillowcases on them, and that'll be good. Realign this, and then I'll pull that tent out and see what else I need. I'm happy the way this is facing now, but I don't know if I should have just left it the way it was. I might get inspired and put it back the way it was, and then it'll be a complete waste of time. But at the moment, it's right. There's no reason to swap it back, I think. Depends on the campsites I go to, I suppose. That will be determined after this trip what would be the best way to have it set out, because then I would have been in it for 10 or 12 days. So we'll try it from that. Rob that's going with me has a little trailer. Might be a bush tech trailer, I'm not sure, I haven't seen it. And he's got a swag and bits and pieces he throws in that. And he may also be bringing his partner, but I'm not sure about that either. So I don't know if he would be sleeping in his swag. In that case, he might just sleep in caravan park in a tent or cabins or whatever they have. I'm not quite sure. But for me, this is how I'll be going. But if we do the caravan campsite sort of thing, this is more set up for remote camping. We're not going to need, as I said, my big heavy kitchen and stuff. I'll take the gas stove still and the gas bottle and things like that. I might even buy a little single burner stove to go on top of my bottle. And even leave the stove home, but we'll see. As I said, a couple of pillows with old pillowcases, but just looking bright red. What was I thinking when I bought them? Oh my God. So after a lot of huffing and puffing with the top, trying to get the cover on with those pillows in it, I thought to myself, well, when I pull this table out, that'll give me plenty of room underneath to put it. So pull the pillows out, top goes on straight away. So this, as I said, weighs about 20 kilo, I think it is, which is my kitchen, which is great if you're destination camping, going to a spot, setting up for a few days, going away. Touring camping while you're on the move all the time, it's not so practical. As I said, because with Rod, I'm going to be probably staying in caravan parks and stuff, and they have facilities and bits and pieces. But as you can see, I've got tons of room in there without that table. So I'll throw the 2 pillows in there. And that's great, as I said, if I'm going somewhere. So that's my stove right at the front that you probably can't see. And this is Billy. I share a house with a girl, and this is her dog, Billy. And I'm babysitting today, aren't we, Billy, hey? So with that, there's plenty of room in there for whatever I want, you know, some extra clothes, my pillows and things like that. So I'll just throw all those in there and that'll be good. There's not much weight on this side, so it's all pretty good. But it's not worth the hassle taking that bag if I'm not going to use it. The kitchen if I'm not going to use it. And so, yeah, plenty of room. We're going through a lot of wine districts, you know, if I want to get a box of wine or something, at least now I've got room and I've got the weight as well. It's only a little bit of food and kitchen stuff on this side. But apart from that, that's it. Trailer checks out all good. Spare wheel's good. All the tyres, I haven't driven it very far, 50 kilometres, so it's not like the tyres are going to wear out or anything. So that's fantastic. So at this stage, I'm going to leave it for now. I'll just throw that map in again, just so you know where I hope to be travelling. And it's about 4 weeks this weekend. So until next time, bye for now.